matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
All good things must come to an end, and for the Winnipeg Jets, that was their winning streak. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Alongside virtually Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to talk about the Winnipeg Jets dropping the final game of their 3-game road trip. They lose for the first time in 6 contests, 3-2 in Music City, USA on Broadway against the Predators of Nashville. David, good to see you on this Sunday evening. I hope you've had a lovely weekend. A good lesson to the Winnipeg Jets that you play about 10 or so minutes of a game, 10 or so minutes of one period, and then the final 10 or so minutes of the third period. It's not necessarily going to be enough to get you back into a hockey contest.
Yeah, that's for sure, Drew. And look, the reality is that folks want to focus on Laurent Brossoit and his effort. And believe me, he deserves it. And we will focus on Laurent Brossoit and his effort tonight.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team really didn't show up. I'm sorry. Like, you watched that game and it looked like they had a good time at Tootsie's last night, or maybe at the Nashville game. We've been there, Drew. We've seen a game in Nashville before, a football game, I should say.
Yeah.
In Nashville before. So it's a good time. Hopefully there were no fireworks that got caught on fire. Like we witnessed, what was it, 5 years ago? Which I believe was the last time.
No, it was pre-COVID. So it would have been
2019.
Yeah, October 2019 is, I think, we were there for a bachelor party, and we were seeing that there was a Tennessee Titans. We're already going off track, but it was a Tennessee Titans Indianapolis Colts game, and so the game, of course, begins with all this pyro on the field, getting everyone hyped up. It was about 1,000 degrees. It was so damn hot.
Oh man!
And then all of a sudden the pyro misfire, it malfunctions, and the field literally caught on fire.
Yeah,
they were able to put it out, but in the corner of it was just off the end zone. There was the whole field was scorched beyond recognition for a while. That was the highlight of the game. It was a really dull game after that.
It was a terrible game.
Yeah.
But anyways, we saw that, and I believe that was the last time they had pyromaniacs on the thing. So no, it is not NFL lunch. We will get back to the game, of course, at hand, Spency. But ultimately, that's like I said, you just can't put. I mean, I guess you can put that kind of effort. And look, the Jets could have tied this game. UC Saros was the difference in this contest. I mean, he was fantastic throughout the course of the evening, and ultimately he was the difference in the game. Laurent Brossoit was not, and we'll talk about, like I said, but again, you can look at the defense of the Jets forwards, which we'll talk about, and again, this team just didn't look like they had it going. And sure, Kevin Sawyer on the broadcast talked about how they went through a tough 2 games against the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers, but I mean, look, Nashville is a divisional rival. They've won 4 games. They were coming into tonight's game 8 points back of you. Now they're 6. But the fact of the matter is that you really don't want to be losing these types of games, and this is an important contest that you're in. So I think that the Jets needed to put forth a better effort. I'm not saying it had to be 60 minutes, but it had to be a hell of a lot better than 10.
Yeah, look, they Jets started this game well. And I mean, the shots, early in that first period were, I think, at a point in time, sort of 11-3, if I recall correctly. I mean, the Jets came out and they started the game how you want them to start it. And if it wasn't for UC Saros, and again, Nashville doesn't need to apologize for having an A1 elite goaltender in UC Saros, just like the Jets don't need to apologize for having an A1 elite goaltender in Connor Hellebuck. I mean, we've seen what both of those goalies can do at various points in time, and how they can carry your team. And that's exactly what UC Saros did for the Predators, at least early on in this game, while they were trying to sort of find their skating legs under them. Which for the first 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 minutes of the game, the Jets were fine. No question about it. And then Nashville pushed back, which you're always going to do. But it was you know, I was thinking as I was watching this game, look, the Jets are in control early on. They're peppering UC Saros with multiple opportunities. I mean, you
Well,
think about that.
Don thinks we're Drew. Don thinks we're crazy, but he must remember that I think they had 6 high danger chances in the first period. 4 of them came in that one flurry of about 4. I think it was about 15 or 16 seconds. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Jets played a terrible game overall. I'm just saying that they had. Look, I mean, until the third period, did you see much?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to the third period, what could you have said about the Perfetti, Ehlers, and the Mesnikov line? Not much. Lowry, Niederreiter, Appleton line, not much. The Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Alex Iafallo line was both good and bad. I mean, they had some chances, but they also gave up a lot. So, I mean, like, there wasn't a ton. And again, the Jets came out the right way, but I mean, ultimately that first period ended with Nashville pushing, and Nashville came back, and the shots, as you just said, were illustrated, were 11-3. Or 11-3, and then ended up as 14-13.
Yeah.
So
Nashville
the Jets were good to start. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
But they just didn't play enough of the game once they were down. Maybe I should clarify my comments. Once they were down, I think they started the game off right. But once they were down, they just didn't start off the game. They didn't continue enough for my liking, at least.
No, they started the game the way that you want them to. There's no question about it. They ended the game the way that you want them to. Just, in coming back, and sure, some of that is score effects and things of that nature, and everything else. But
score effects. You mean like when it was 6-2 shots for the Preds in the third period, even though they were up 3-0?
Well, I mean, that was what was going on early in the third period, and then the Jets finally broke through UC Saros, and we'll get into it when we get into the Betway game recap during the course of this. But the Jets are a better team than the Predators, and had they been able to put forth a consistent effort, for the entirety of the game, or if not, or for the majority of the game, I mean, the Jets didn't play in the second period, or their play in the second period left so much to be desired.
Drew, they outshot them 9-4. It wasn't that, again, it's not the Jets just, I mean, first of all, you got to give credit to UC Saros. I mean, he was the difference to me. He was the difference in this game. I mean, the Jets got out goaltender, right? Like, Laurent Brossoit wasn't good. I mean, they got 2 goals on him in 4 shots. The first goal, the second goal, I should say, was brutal. The third goal by the Preds, the Jets, I mean, he didn't have a chance. It was a beautiful power play goal. But the fact of the matter is, the Jets are reeling, right? Because you've given up. And again, the first goal, I don't love his positioning, and I don't love the rebound. But again, you have to look at it collectively, and collectively the Jets were not helping him out. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, again, I don't think the Jets completely, crap the bed. I'm just saying that they just didn't play enough. They didn't have that pushback when they were down. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that it wasn't that there weren't flat. Like, again, it wasn't that the Jets got dominated for 60 minutes and didn't play at all. But to me, again, my observation was that the Jets had some good flashes. They just didn't have it when they found themselves down. When they were down 1-0, fine, that's at the end of the first period. But then when they go down 2-0, and again, I understand how demoralizing that goal is because it's crap, but it just didn't look good. Even though, again, they had the control of the possession, or the puck, I should say.
From my perspective, the pushback that the Jets needed came too late in the game. Yeah. That's you want to see that pushback in the second period rather than in the back half of the third period. If you play like they played in the back half of the third period, but that's in the second period, they're likely going to come back and potentially tie that game. They just ran out of time. And that's what happens when you play with fire, when you're struggling to find your game. And it's not like they're not trying to play better. They just couldn't find their game. Josh Morrissey, I thought, took it upon himself in that third period to sort of try and drag the team back into the contest. I mean, he gets the goal that breaks the shutout. Josh Morrissey, I thought, was impressive in that third period. I thought that Neil Pionk had an edge to his game throughout the course of the game. But there were a lot of guys who didn't play tonight at the level that we've been accustomed to seeing them play against the Florida Panthers and against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And that's natural. That's going to happen because there are always going to be peaks and valleys and things of that nature. So it's not inexcusable. I mean, I'm not being dramatic about what this result of today's game was. It's one game. This is sort of what happens sometimes in certain games. But I thought that the Winnipeg Jets, the pushback came late. They started right, then they faded, and then when they pushed back, it just came later, too late in the game, and they ran out of time. That's really what I saw in tonight's contest. And when you're a backup goalie in Laurent Brossoit, you can't let that goal in. You just can't. And we'll talk about it when we get into the Betway game recap, and we'll talk about what we saw about Laurent Brossoit, on that specific play. But it's sort of ironic because earlier in the game, before the Predators opened the scoring, I thought Laurent Brossoit was pretty good.
Yeah, he made 2 back-to-back really nice saves.
Yeah, on some good chances by the Nashville Predators. I thought, okay, Laurent Brossoit looks like he's maybe dialed in tonight, or that he's in a position where he can play one of the better games that he'll play this season so far this year, because he has struggled so far this year. There's no, you don't need to sugarcoat that. You don't need to pretend that he hasn't struggled. He has. And for the Jets, who are going to rely on Laurent Brossoit to hopefully play 20 games this year for them, and this is game 5 of his season, and that means he's played a quarter of the games that the Jets have played, because this was game number 20 for the Jets. You need him to be at a better performance than what you saw tonight, especially when it came to untimely goals. And that second goal is the definition of an untimely goal. Let's get into it, Dave M. It's the Betway game recap. It's brought to you by our friends at Betway, the most trusted voices in sports betting. If you're looking to bet, why don't you bet your way with our friends at Betway?
The Betway game recap.
Big thanks to Betway for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. We always appreciate their sponsorship of this program, and we hope that you do as well. As we mentioned, the Jets started the game the right way. The Jets were peppering UC Saros, and UC Saros was doing what an elite goaltender does, which is make saves and keep his team in the game while they're trying to find their skating legs. And eventually the Predators did find their skating legs, particularly after, I would say, that flurry where the Jets had, it seemed like 3 or 4 high danger chances in the course of, like you said, 10 to 15 seconds. It was a bit of a firing range, and Saros, stood up to them, and Nashville started to play better. And Nashville, keep in mind, as we talked about on yesterday's Illegal Curve hockey show with Emma Lingen, that the Predators have been playing better hockey, and the Predators have been doing it with getting some good amount of goals. They had 7 against the St. Louis Blues. They opened the scoring at the 1940 mark of the first period. So a late goal in the first period, never one that you want to give up. But the Predators are going to say thank you very much. It's Trenin. It's Jakob Trenin getting his 4th of the season assist to Roman Josi. Roman Josi was the best Predators skater on the ice, not including UC Saros. I thought Roman Josi, obviously, he had 3 assists tonight. He was terrific, but it's Josi's play. I don't love, one of my chief complaints about Laurent Brossoit is that he often maybe puts himself out of position in trying to make an original save. And if you go back and if you watch this goal by Trenin, not to say that this is on Laurent Brossoit, because it's not. One of the Jets defensemen needs to tie up Trenin here so that he can't pounce on the juicy rebound. But I also don't love how overcommitted Laurent Brossoit is on the original save by Roman Josi off the Roman Josi shot, Dave.
No, I agree with you, Drew. And I thought that he overcommitted and put himself out of position, and then he gave up a bad rebound. He put the rebound right into the middle of the ice. And again, nobody was bad. Everybody was watching. I mean, Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele, and I looked at the shift length. It was it was at the end of a 30-second shift. So it wasn't a long shift by any stretch of the imagination. They didn't play yesterday. They weren't on the ice yesterday. So, I mean, it's not a function of like these guys being tired. It's the first period and it's a 30-second shift. And so I watched them, and Scheifele was a little bit all over the ice, but Kyle Connor shoulder checks. Trenin and McCarron are both behind him, and he looks to the right, sees them. I mean, it's a quick glance, but he sees them, but he's in cruise control, and he doesn't take either guy. And again, I'm not suggesting that if he takes one and the other doesn't, because that rebound is right there. But the problem is Scheifele is in no man's land. Connor is now behind Trenin and McCarron, and they both get easy pass to the front of the net. And so now again, a game that is, as people have pointed out rightly, the Jets had control of that first period. The 6 high danger chances. So Saros is playing. And look, folks, how many games have we watched the Jets, face a team that dominates them, has tons of great chances, but Connor Hellebuck steals the show. I mean, we've seen that too many times to mention. Right. So ultimately, you can't say, oh, well, I mean, it can never happen against the Jets, even though, like, again, this hasn't been Saros's best season by any stretch of the imagination, coming off of what should have been a Vezina nomination, at least, or at least could potentially a Vezina win.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that he was phenomenal. He makes all those stops. And to me, the Jets have been playing pretty well. And that's pretty demoralizing to give up a goal that late in the first period, because again, you haven't played bad. You've dominated in terms of, like, again, those opportunities, and yet you find yourself down 1-0. So it's tough because, again, I didn't like the way Brossoit played it, and I really didn't like the way the defensive adjustments by the forwards or the lack thereof, I should say, to allow the penetration of the zone the way they did. And then ultimately you find yourself down 1-0 because you were lax on the details.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was just, you need to be able to man up. You need to be able to find your guy to prevent that rebound. You don't love the juicy rebound to begin with, and then you need to be able to find your guy so that the juicy rebound doesn't become a problem, as it did in this case. And so all of a sudden, after a pretty decent first period for the Jets, they're down 1-0 to the Predators. And that's where we start in the second period, as you're joining the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. This is the Betway game recap. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk with you on this Sunday evening, talking about the Jets losing 3-2 to the Nashville Predators. They finished the road trip with a record of 2 wins and 1 loss before heading home on Tuesday for 4 straight games at home. Of course, the Dallas Stars visiting on Tuesday night, which should be a very entertaining contest. This goal is just brutal, and it comes at the one mark of the second period. It's Roman Josi. It's his 4th of the season, and Kiefer Sherwood and Ryan McDonough get assists. And this is a harmless play. I tweeted this or X'd it or whatever the hell you want to call what you do on that platform. Sure. To me, Laurent Brossoit didn't look prepared on this shot. Mm-hmm. He looked like there's, because it's not Roman Josi was not in a shooting position here. This was not what you would expect to be that there shouldn't necessarily be a shot on goal coming from this zone entry here. That was not what you're thinking. That said, your job as a goalie is to be prepared for anything. And to me, it's one thing if you're prepared and it squeaks through you and it's a bad goal, so be it. Humanity is going to, rear its ugly head every now and then, and that can happen. To me, though, Laurent Brossoit looked like he was unprepared for the shot on this one. And that, to me, is something that just cannot happen in this situation. You have to be prepared for anything. And he didn't, in my mind, look that way. And as a result, the Predators get a cheapie. They're not going to apologize for it, but it's a cheapie. And all of a sudden, they have a 2-0 lead. And you definitely saw a sag in how the Jets played from that point on in that second period, I thought, Dave.
Yeah, and look, I mean, he just doesn't have the post, Drew, right? I mean, he leaves that gap, and Roman Josi's a phenomenal player, but there's just too much space for Roman Josi to put that puck in the net. And look, I mean, it's another opportunity. The Jets, had possession of the puck. An errant pass goes to the middle, and of course Nashville transitions that well. Yeah. And it's just it's a chaotic play, but it looks like everybody's in position. Nate Schmidt has his guy, Nikolai Ehlers has his man, and yet Roman Josi finds some space. And ultimately, that's just, it's a goal that can't go in because you're down 1-0 on, again, I would blame on Brossoit, but I would also have blamed on the defensive effort by the forwards. So it's not great, but again, like most people are pointing out, the Jets felt probably pretty good after that first period because they did control the play. They did get a lot of high danger chances, and Saros was good. Mm-hmm. But you're hoping that it's going to eventually break. I mean, look, both teams are feeling good about themselves, right? The Jets are coming in having won 5 straight. The Predators are coming in having won 4 straight. So this is a tale of 2 teams who are both feeling good about their games. And we talked to Emma yesterday on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. So we know that the Predators are, again, like we talked about, they're feeling good. and they of course got Shen back in the lineup, and so they went. They had that kind of boost from him, but ultimately, the Jets are thinking, okay, we're going to take over in the second period because we felt good. It's going to be a continuation of our first period, even though we're down 1-0. And then suddenly you're down 2-0, a minute 26 in or whatever it was. And that's pretty demoralizing because now suddenly that confidence question about your goaltender comes into effect.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about the Jets with Connor Hellebuck, I know obviously he wasn't phenomenal to start the year, but he has returned to form. That's one thing you never really had to worry about. Right. That's one thing you kind of put in I saw some people were commenting about David Riddick. David Riddick's playing for the Ontario Reign right now of the AHL. But the fact is that it's not a good goal. It's not a good goal when you're the backup goaltender and you're not going to be getting more than one start every 4 games. But the fact of the matter is, like, guys, there's no excuse. There's no like, oh, he's not playing enough.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to practice. He faces these shots, and I understand practice. I understand practices aren't games, but you're a backup goaltender.
That's your job.
And that's your job. Your job, again, to your point, Drew, is that you have to be ready for anything, and you have to be ready to be able to stop. I understand bad goals go in, but it's the timing of it, and it's just what it did to the group because it demoralized them. Clearly, I mean, they just even though they outshot Nashville in that period. 2 goals and 4 shots is not a good way to go for Laurent Brossoit. And again, I'm not going to blame him for that power play goal, which obviously ultimately proved to be the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame him too much. We'll talk about that in a second. But again, that second goal to me is fairly inexcusable.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I see people, in the chat, talking about, what to do with Laurent Brossoit. How do we, the Jets don't. There is no other option for a backup goaltender. Not that I would be prepared to, throw the baby out with the bathwater at this point in time, but there aren't any other options out there at this point. So, the Jets are going to go with Laurent Brossoit, and they're going to, and that's just going to be the reality of the situation, is that they're going to have to, work with him as he works through whatever struggles he's experiencing early this year. But there's no other way about it. There's no other backup goaltenders out there. The Jets aren't about to start trading for somebody or anything along those lines. Trust me, folks, if there were other goaltending options out there, the Edmonton Oilers would have already been on top of it. And there's no options down with the Manitoba Moose, because we know that the Moose goaltending has not been anything to write home about either.
Hold on.
We'll get to it later. They had a better game tonight. They won 3-2 earlier today, a much needed win for the Moose. And we'll get
you
to
just
that.
ruined it, Drew.
I'm telling people they can win. You'll give the analysis. I'm telling them the score. You'll give the analysis.
Kids
But there are no better options right now for when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets and their goaltending choices. When it comes to a backup. So Laurent Brossoit is not going anywhere, and the Jets certainly are not scouring the market to try and find somebody for him, because they still, I'm sure, have faith in him because they signed him, and it's only been 5 games.
Well, I mean, again, like, let's be realistic here. It wasn't a good game by Laurent Brossoit, and there can be differences in analysis. You don't have to say that a guy had a good game. Like, again, we're not here to blow smoke or to, we can't tell you what your lying eyes are not seeing, because you guys watched the game the same as we did. So we're not going to sit here and be like, Laurent Brossoit was excellent today. We're also not going to say Laurent Brossoit is a terrible goaltender. Now, his quality starts hasn't been very good for the Jets. I mean, it's just a reality right now. Do I think that he could bounce back? Do I think if this team plays the way I think they're capable of playing, that Laurent Brossoit will win more than he loses? I do. I have faith, because I think he's, we saw it in Vegas last year. Yeah. And so do I think that he's a good goaltender? I do think he's a good goaltender. Do I think he had a bad game tonight? I do think he had a bad game tonight. So those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can believe both.
That's right. 2-0 for the Predators after that awful goal. And then they make it 3-0. And it's just under 5 minutes later. It's 4 minutes and 56 seconds later. It's on the power play. It does not take them long to capitalize on this power play. And the Mesnikov is in the box for tripping. It's a tripping penalty that happens behind the Predators' net. So it's a significant, not where you want to take a penalty. You don't want to take an offensive zone penalty. And it doesn't take the Preds long. It's Gustav Nyquist, his 3rd of the year, assist to Philip Forsberg and Roman Josi. And it's a great pass from Forsberg to Nyquist, and you can't really blame Brossoit on this one. You don't love the positioning of the Jets. They just seemed out of sorts and a little bit overcommitted in trying to keep track of Roman Josi on this play. But it's an excellent pass from Forsberg to Nyquist. And look, Nyquist is he's not an exciting player, but he's a player who knows how to take advantage of the opportunities that are given him. And on this one, the Jets defense and the penalty kill availed Nyquist of the opportunity, and he made no mistake in making it 3-0 for the Predators, Dave.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those situations, Drew, where if you look at Mason Appleton has a chance to get that puck out of the zone. He's got it briefly
off the draw and the scrum a little
off the
bit.
face off, and he almost gets it, and he fails to get it out. And then then the problem for Mason Appleton is he's caught in no man land. He's basically in between, the front of the net and he's right near the circle. But the problem is he's really not in a position to do much of anything. And so as a result, that pass is made beautifully. And, again, I'm not going to blame Brossoit significantly on this one because it's a really nice pass. And, he's obviously got to be aware, but he could have moved over. He could have reacted a little bit more, but again, he's got to be, it's so hard for a goaltender on that sort of setup to have to play the shooter. Didn't look like he was going to take a shot. So, I guess he could have cheated a little bit, but ultimately Appleton not, failing to get the clear and then, finding himself in that no man's land and then losing Nyquist beside the net. That's the problem, right? Because you've got Pionk who's high and then you've got Sandberg who's trying to play the man down low. And then of course, nobody takes Nyquist. So that's part of the problem for the Jets. And then ultimately now it's 3-0. So of the 3 goals that Laurent Brossoit gave up, that's the least of the ones that you're going to be complaining about. Let's put it that way. Although unfortunately for the Jets, that turns out to be the game winner.
It does turn out to be the game winner, and then the rest of a listless second period for the Winnipeg Jets comes and goes without much of anything happening. The Jets get a power play opportunity. Kiefer Sherwood takes a roughing penalty in the second period. That would allow the Jets, if they were able to capitalize, to cut the lead from 3-0 to 3-1. They do not do so. So after 40 minutes, the Jets are down 3-0 and aren't showing a ton of fight or a ton Sorry?
Are you just going to glaze over the big hot mic situation at the end of the second period?
I wasn't going to delve deep into it. It was Neil Pionk with a hip check.
Solid hip check.
A solid hip check, no question about it. And then I think that led to the hot mic situation where the victim of the hip check expressed his displeasure.
I won't say the word
for sure.
Because Bailey's in the chat potentially, or even if she isn't, she could listen to this. So we're not going to go that way, but I got to give Dan Robertson credit because I thought he was rather quick when he said somebody didn't like that.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody did not like that from the Predators' perspective.
Yeah.
And the Jets had some opportunities in the second period. Mark Scheifele had a breakaway. And UC Saros, made the nice save, or Scheifele shot it wide, whatever it was. It didn't capitalize. So there were a few opportunities for the Jets to really cut into the lead, and they were not able to take advantage of that. And so after 40 minutes, the game is 3-0 for the Nashville Predators, and it's going to take a significant third period comeback by the Winnipeg Jets, compounded by the fact that they really haven't shown much of a fight to this point through the first 40 minutes of the game.
Well, and again, we can't take it away from UC Saros because I thought he was excellent. And there were a number of chances. Kyle Connor had a chance. So the Jets still had chances. They still created. It's just, again, it becomes a function of the goaltending was excellent, right? Yeah. And they just couldn't, he kept making all the stops, as they once said on Seinfeld. So, to me, that was really the difference in the game. Predators goaltender kept making all the stops. Jets goaltender not making the stops that he needs to make. And that's not very detailed analysis, but that's how the Jets found themselves down 3-0 after 40 minutes.
And the Jets, started the third period again, not showing a ton of interest in getting back into the game. The third period was sort of uneventful up until I thought Josh Morrissey at the halfway mark really sort of took it upon himself to try and, as I said in the intro, tried to drag the team into the game. And he gets the Jets on the board at the 10:28 mark. It's his 4th of the season, assist to Adam Lowry. doesn't look like it's going to be a significant scoring chance. He's coming down the left wing, to the right of Saros. And it looks like he's attempting a pass, and the pass gets stopped, and it ends up right back on his stick, pardon me, which is fortuitous, as he's able to deposit that sort of rebounded pass beyond Saros and into the back of the net. And all of a sudden, the Jets have a faint pulse in the latter half of the third period, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely the case, and it's unfortunate for was it Appleton, I think, who was coming down the right wing, and unfortunately for him got a stick right in the face. So he was the guy who I think that Morrissey was trying to hit with the pass, and look, that's just sometimes you have to be lucky to get a good bounce. That's the bounce that Josh Morrissey gets, and yeah, it was Appleton, and sure enough, I mean, look, it's. That's what you needed, right? That's all the Jets needed. There was plenty of time left in that hockey game for the Jets to get, when they, if you score that goal, 5-minute mark, it's a little more difficult. But with 10 minutes to go, over 10 minutes to go in the game, the Jets, the way they've been, I mean, look, they haven't had a regulation loss before tonight for over 2 weeks, right? They're 8-2-0, including tonight's game, in their last 10 games. This is a team that's feeling good about themselves and a team that can generate and score. So, I mean, if the Jets, get that goal, it's not hard to see that the Jets could have come back in this game very easily, and they almost did.
Yeah, they did almost come back. It certainly was. It was aided by a Predators penalty, mere seconds later. So the Jets get on the board at the 10:28 mark, and then 42 seconds later, they make it a 3-2 game. It's a power play goal. Nikolai Ehlers gets hauled down in the offensive zone. You could see the boost that the Jets got from the Morrissey goal, and it takes all of 6 seconds. Scheifele wins the faceoff. It goes from Scheifele to Connor to Cole Perfetti, and boom, it's 3-2. And this beautiful shot is our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
You know that it's a good shot when it goes post, crossbar, post, and in. That means that you have managed to do a very nice job of getting the shot past UC Saros in this case. An absolute beaut from Cole Perfetti. That his 7th of the game. There's just under 9 minutes to go, and the Jets have a more than just a faint pulse. They're certainly they've clawed right back into this contest, down by 1 goal with still a significant amount of time on the clock. Just a beautiful setup, and Perfetti just walks in, and that's a confident shot from a very talented young man in Cole Perfetti, Dave.
No question about it. We'll have to start with, though, of course, with the face-off win and the pass by Mark Scheifele, because it's a world-class, Scheifele's got great vision, so he sees Perfetti open where he is, and he hits him with that pass perfectly. His 16th assist of the season, on pace for 65 this year. His career high in 16-17 was 50, so he may eclipse that one by a significant margin. He continues to produce. And look, it's an all-world pass, and it's an all-world shot by Cole Perfetti. And speaking of on pace for, Cole Perfetti gets his 7th goal in the 20th game of the season for him. He had 8 in 51 last year, I think. Or was it 41 last year?
Maybe you're the 41. One who tweeted it. You tell me.
I know. Well, I mean, Drew, I got a lot going on in the noggin right now, so I'm trying to remember all my fancy numbers. But 51 games, I was right the first time. So 51 games for 8 goals. He's got a pace of about 29 for Cole Perfetti. So it's, again, that's what you want to see, is him getting that confidence. And I didn't think his line made a ton of noise in this hockey game. I thought, again, like I said, I thought the Scheifele line was noticeable on both ends of the ice, but the Perfetti line didn't make a significant amount of noise, to me at least. And but that was a beautiful all-world shot by Cole Perfetti. And that's, again, the Jets are now in it. They're feeling it, right? 3-2, plenty of time left in this hockey game, 9 minutes. I mean, that's a world of time just to down a goal with the amount of firepower the Jets have, despite the fact that UC Saros is playing well, because that's throwing his confidence into a bit of a tumult, right? Like you're thinking to yourself, this team is, again, this Jet team is feeling good about themselves. We've just gone over it, right? We're talking about it for a while, like 11 coming into the game, 11-2-2 in their last, no, it's 11-2. Yeah, 11-2-2 in the last 15. So, I mean, exactly. This is a team that's won a lot of hockey games right now, Drew. And again, they've won them in different ways. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this was a team that, despite the fact that Nashville's feeling good about themselves, Nashville's a younger team. right? They've got a lot of guys who came up from Milwaukee. And so they're probably, they're happy with what they're doing and they're continuing like we talked about. But it wasn't that long ago. This team was, what were they, 4-10?
Yeah. Sure.
So
that's exactly what they were before they went on their 5-game winning streak. You know, just do the math, do the subtraction, and you can see exactly where Nashville was not that long ago before this recent hot streak that they're on. The Jets pushed. And they had some opportunities. I don't know that any of them were what I would describe as grade A opportunities, but they had some significant zone time and they had some control of the puck in the Predators' zone. But alas, it was a little too late for them to get the equalizer. And despite pulling the goalie and trying their damnedest to get the equalizer, they were unable to do so. And Nashville ends up holding on for the 3-2 victory. As you mentioned, Dave, the Jets winning streak comes to an end. But if you had said to most Jets fans that at the 20-game mark, the Jets would be 12-6-2, most fans would probably take that, having won 5 in a row entering tonight's game before tonight's loss. And what do you say, 11-2-2 in their last 15 games? So again, very good records. The Jets lose, I think, to a divisional opponent the second time this year, if I'm not mistaken, after their loss to the Dallas Stars. The next opponent for the Jets coming up on Tuesday in what will certainly be, I think, an entertaining contest back in downtown Winnipeg. When we come back, we're going to talk about Tuesday's game. We'll talk about the Moose game. We'll do a Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. There's much more to come on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Don't go anywhere on this Sunday evening. You started your weekend with Illegal Curve on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. You're going to end your weekend with Illegal Curve on Sunday night just before 10:30. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk with you. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. It rolls on.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Shortly before the bottom of the hour, Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on this Sunday evening. Jets next in action. They start a 4-game homestand on Tuesday night against the Dallas Stars. Then Edmonton comes to town on Thursday. Connor McDavid, a 5-point night tonight for the Oilers as they continue to try and find their way. They defeat the Anaheim Ducks tonight. Oh, they're not completely defeated them, but they're up 7-2 with 5 minutes to go. Given the Oilers goaltending situation, I'll give them a 60-40 chance they're going to be able to hold on at least and get the game into overtime at the very least. But McDavid with 5 points tonight for the Oilers. So a 4-game homestand for the Jets, as I mentioned. Next Saturday, Connor Bedard is going to come and play for the Chicago
Connor versus
Blackhawks.
Connor.
Connor versus Connor. So many Connors, you don't know what to do with them all.
Yeah, I don't know which Connor they're talking about on the Jet side. We know which Connor they're talking about with the Edmonton side.
With the Edmonton side, you know that Connor, and there's too many Connors going on, but that's the week that's going to be for the Winnipeg Jets, and then they wrap up the homestand next Monday against the Carolina Hurricanes. Dave M., the Manitoba Moose, as I mentioned, they had a 3-2 victory tonight on the road to end their losing streak. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? It's everyone's favorite part of the post-game show.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Manouk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Everybody's favorite time. I didn't know it was going to be everybody's favorite time, but when the Moose win,
I might be drunk. I mean, who the hell knows?
Well,
really tired.
The Moose definitely needed a good effort today, Drew, because they were coming into tonight's game having lost 2 straight. And of course, they lost Friday night to Michael Hutchinson and these Grand Rapids Griffins on Friday. And they were looking to not repeat that and end the road trip going even 3-3-0. And things didn't get off to a great start because they gave up the first goal. Not a great goal. Oskari Salminen was back in net. He hadn't played in a couple of weeks, but he got the net back. Declan Chisholm, of course, was pulled back from his conditioning stint, ended with the Moose yesterday. So he was recalled back up to the Jets. That, creates some more interesting numbers because not that his number came off, he was still counting against their bench, Drew, but they do have some questions, of course. We'll get to that with Gabe Velarde and all that. We'll talk about that after. But despite finding themselves down 1-0, they did score a beautiful goal late in the first period. Chaz Lucius, the 2021 first rounder, he scores an absolute beauty up and over Michael Hutchinson from his knees. Again, all these goals are either on my Twitter, IC Dave, or the Illegal Curve Instagram, or they'll be in the morning papers tomorrow. So you'll have to check them out. But beautiful goal by Chaz Lucius, just his second of the year. Of course, he's been dealing with some injury issues, but nice one. He's feeling good. And you can see he's starting to play a lot better. So that's a good thing for Jets fans. And then the Jets started the second period with a 5-on-3 kill, almost a full 5-on-3 kill. And they managed to, their PK hasn't been good, but it was very good in this game. And they managed to kill that 5-on-3. And shortly thereafter, Brad Lambert set up the 2022 first rounder, set up an absolute beautiful goal to Nikita Chibrikov, the 2021 second rounder. He is leading the Moose in scoring. He's got 8 goals and I think 17 points in total. And he is third or fourth in rookie scoring in the AHL. But Nikita Chibrikov, who isn't as big a household name as Lucius and Lambert, he's one that you should be paying attention to, though. He's a bit of a cantankerous guy. He's not a big guy, probably only about 5'11", but he's got a good shot. He's scoring a lot of goals. I think he's got now, I think he's got 6 goals in 6 games. He had a goal. He didn't score the game on Friday, so his streak snapped because he had 2 in 1 game, but 6 goals in his last 6 games. So he's heating up, which is a good thing. And then the kid from Michigan, Wyatt Bongiovanni, he finished the scoring for the Moose with an absolute snipe top corner. It was a beauty, and that made it 3-1. The Moose would give up a goal in the third, but hang on for the 3-2 win. So Oskari Salminen, he gets the win in his start, which is his first one in a while. And the kids show that they're all right. And Kyle Capobianco, he has a 3-assist night. So Lucius with the goal and an assist. Bongiovanni, again, the kid from Michigan, he with family in attendance, he had a goal and an assist. And Brad Lambert feathers an absolute beautiful no look, head up, gets Michael Hutchinson to buy that he's taking the shot right over to Chibrikov, and Chibrikov puts it home. So real nice effort from those guys. And the kid, like I said, the kids are leading the way with the Moose, and that's a good thing. So big win for the Moose. They're back home for a pair of games. They've got a weird December schedule. Home for 2, then they go to Calgary for 2, then they're home for 2, Then they go on the road and they finish it off here at New Year's, like always. And we'll have some tickets to give away. So sure enough, when we've got a game Tuesday and Thursday, so probably on Thursday's game, we'll give away some Moose tickets for this weekend. So if you want to go to the Moose game, make sure you're following along and you can watch all these kids, because let me tell you, these kids are worth watching. Like I said,
kids are all right, if you will.
Kids are all right.
If you're an Offspring fan.
Yeah. Chibrikov's looked really good. Lambert's looked really good. Lucius has looked really good. Zhilkin and there's a lot of kids that are on this Jets team, on this Moose team, sorry. And hopefully if Scary Salmon can turn things around and keep his goaltending where it needs to be. And Colin Delia, who looked really good in the preseason and hasn't looked as good for the Moose. The biggest bugaboo for the Moose is giving up a first goal either within a minute or on the first shot. But like I said, the kids are showing that they're all right and they'll keep it rolling. And like I said, for Jets fans who want to see what the prospects are doing, they're worth checking out.
There you go. There's Dave M. as only he can do, the Manuk Moose Minute here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. And be sure to tune in to Tuesday and Thursday's post-game shows for your next chance to get some Moose tickets in the IC zone, courtesy of us at Illegal Curve. Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. That's going to wrap up tonight's post-game show. Let's say big thank you to our friends at Tough Duck.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Going to give tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment to Stu Smith. Stu says they had excellent goaltending, they being the Predators, and we being the Jets, only lost by 1. We didn't need great goaltending, just good, and we get a point minimum. And he's probably not pretty bang on with that comment. If the Jets goaltending had been a little bit better, and if Laurent Brossoit doesn't give up that weak second goal, and maybe if the Jets themselves try and fight back a little bit earlier in that third period and find their skating legs a little bit earlier in that third, the end result of tonight's game might be a bit different. Nonetheless, it's not. Stu, send me an email, drew@illegalcurve.com, or slide into my DMs where I am on, of course, X @ICDrew. I'm also on Blue Sky. Dave and I and Illegal Curve
I'm not still convinced. I'm more, Drew, if you're going to give a shout out to our threads right now, we're almost at that 2,000 mark. So IC is doing well on threads. This whole Blue Sky thing, I'm not sold yet on Blue Sky, especially since you can't do video.
Yeah,
can't do video. It's not really my thing.
I'm not even sure what the hell it is. I just know that we have codes and we're on Blue Sky. So if you were planning on jumping on there and stealing the Illegal Curve handle, well, we've beat you to it. You might not even know what the hell I'm talking about. That's entirely possible as well. But you know where we are. We're at Illegal Curve here, there, and everywhere. And we're likely at IC Drew and at IC Dave here, there, and everywhere as well.
So, Drew, I'm too polite to fact check you live on air, but I won't point it out. I will point it out if someone else fact checks you. And Jay did get you on this one. The Kids Are All Right is the Who. Offspring song is The Kids Aren't All Right.
Okay.
So
yeah, well, fair enough. That's what I get for trying to pretend I know anything about music. So,
but hey, we appreciate when people keep us honest, and Jay Miller did that. So thank you, Jay. And I've seen the Offspring, actually. They're a good band. So big fan of the Offspring.
Wow, and I remember when the Who broke in the British invasion back in 1965. I was a young wee lass back then.
Yeah, I was like, you were like 20 at that point.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I can make the jokes about my age if you guys are going to make them as well. Nonetheless,
we should, Drew. We should mention though that Gabe Velarde.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Okay. If you want to.
I was just going to say Gabe Velarde. A lot of people thought he might be in the lineup for tonight's Jets game. They decided to not play him. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you know that much. But he's coming back to Winnipeg. And are they something about a brace? Are they trying to find another brace for him or something?
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a curious comment from Rick Bowness today after morning availability. He basically said that they're going to get him into a brace. I'm like, didn't we have a whole conversation last week about him and a brace? And Scott Arneal said that. So, I mean, maybe he needs a new brace. Maybe he needs a game brace as opposed to a practice brace. But ultimately, they're going to get him a brace. We don't know the schedule for tomorrow, but we do know that the Jets probably won't practice tomorrow. And then they'll be on the ice on Tuesday for morning skate and morning availability in the game against Dallas. So whatever there is to find out, we'll have it for you on illegalcurve.com. but it seems likely that Gabe Velarde will draw back in. And
Yeah.
it was interesting because his comments didn't really reveal. And look, we've already talked about it. We spent a lot of Saturday's show talking about the lineup, and Alex Iafallo has been a complimentary piece, but he hasn't done that much that he's solidified his spot. So to me, Gabe Velarde is a natural, you put him back into that first line and you slide, whether it's Iafallo down to the fourth and bump Axel Janssen Fjällby out. That would be my mindset right now.
That would be mine as well.
To do as little as you can to the second line, as little as you can to the third line.
Yeah.
But the only question becomes, how do you fill the minutes? Because it sounds like from Rick Bonus's perspective, he doesn't want Velarde playing the first line minutes. So that's the kind of the conundrum that they may have. And it's possible that he has Iafallo maybe go into that spot and skip a couple of Velarde opportunities. So anyways, we'll see what happens on Tuesday, and a morning skate will be very interesting. So make sure you pay attention to legalcurve.com because we'll be there and we'll have all of that information.
You betcha. That legalcurve.com is your destination for all your latest Winnipeg Jets and Manitoba Moose news and audio any time of the day or night or weekend or week. illegalcurve.com. Big thanks to all of our sponsors. I see Frosty Winnipeg has it there. It's up on the screen. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, and he's got in the brackets there that Ivan Decker, Canadian comic heavyweight, is going to be in town Tuesday through Saturday. Tickets are very limited, but you can get them at rumorscomedyclub.com. Our friends at Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Farmery Beer. That's the official home of Illegal Curve Lager. Get it at number 2 Donald Street. Betway, they're the title sponsor of the post-game show. Our friends at Tough Duck, Boston Pizza. Remember, mark it on your calendars. It's coming up before you know it. It's only about 10 days away. Thursday, December the 7th. Illegal Curve live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. We're hosting a holiday party. You come, you drink some drinks, you eat some food, you share some laughs, you shake some hands, you kiss some babies if that's your thing, as long as they're a baby that hopefully, and you'll come and celebrate the holiday.
As long as you have the parents' consent is probably the bigger, more important thing, Drew.
That too, yeah. Get the parents' consent if you're going to kiss their babies. That's going to be the Illegal Curve holiday party and live post-game show Thursday, December 7th for the Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. So mark that on your calendars. Seagram's, big sponsor of ours, Rolly's Transfer, and like I said, Farmery Beer. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, smash the like button, leave us feedback here, there, and everywhere, because that's what we ask from you. We'll be back on Tuesday night after the Jets and the Stars, same time, 9:45, give or take. I'll be here. Dave M will be here. Ginsburg going to be here? I'm not sure. We'll find out on Tuesday.
For Tuesday, no, Ezzy will not. It's a Drew and Dave
there
repeat.
You go.
No
DM.
Ezzy is not going to be here.
You know what's better than one DM? 2 DMs. Slide into my DMs. Stu Smith, is that who won the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment? I think so.
Sure, that was your responsibility. Yeah, I just do
Stu
the
Smith. He's going to slide into my DMs. So DM. For the DM on the right, I'm the DM on the left. We'll see you Tuesday night. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.